Welcome back and thank you for keeping it KTN Farmers TV. Today we are talking about agricultural insurance, and with me in studio is Siani Malama, who is the head of inclusive insurance at APA Insurance. Before the break, Malama, you're talking about the partnerships that you have with the county governments. In terms of education, what do you think can be the role of the county governments in educating the population on the importance of insurance and insurance policies?
100%, yeah. Yeah, I mean, our partnership with the government is a very critical one when it comes to insuring farmers and insurance uptake. And through the partnerships, we work very closely with officers on the ground, with food extension officers on the ground, from various counties, and through that, as a private sector, we try to ensure that we support the activities on the ground from an education awareness for farmers. So the county government definitely plays a key role in the value chain, and it's through the partnerships that we try to make sure that we empower them as much as possible, to disseminate the information. As an insurer, we can only have so much reach, right? But I think through collaboration and through the partnerships, especially with the county governments, we find that it actually does help. It helps a lot, and we need to invest a bit more in those channels to make sure that the farmers are getting the right level of information.
Okay, we know. Women and children, women and girls play a very big role when it comes to agriculture in Kenya. In your engagements with these farmers, how do you engage with the women and the girls out there?
Yeah, so interestingly is our insurance program, around about 40% of the farmers that we've insured is actually women and youth, right? And we're finding that there's more women farmers that are involved in agricultural activities. One of the partnerships that we have with, for example, with Eka Africa, where they make use of village champions, and these are the champions that are stationed in the farming activities, and through the village champion model, we use them to disseminate the information, to train farmers, to engage with farmers, and obviously to engage with women farmers, that have slightly different requirements, versus a male farmer. So we try and find ways of how best we can address that, and that is actually one of our biggest strategic agendas at the moment. Is how do we increase more coverage and more protection, targeting women and youth farmers. Yeah.
Okay. Are there claims that you've been able to pay in the recent past, both on the crop and the animal sectors?
100%. Yeah. I mean, recently we had a claim of around about 27 million shillings that we paid in Marsabit County. This was under the livestock insurance program due to the drought. But over the years, if I look at the crop insurance program, we recently had a claim of about 91 million Kenya shillings that we've settled. We still are getting claims from the drought. We're estimating it to be around about 150-160 million shillings from the long rains that happened. But we have paid in excess of probably around about $2.5 million. Over the past 4 years, in terms of claims payouts.
Okay, these are droughts currently being experienced by farmers in northern Kenya. Have you been able to pay some of the claims, or were there any insurance that had been taken by those farmers before that you need to pay for?
Yes, 100%. I mean, the recent claim that we currently actually assessing includes those areas. So we're estimating to about 150-160 million shillings, of which we've already paid about 91 million, and we're hoping that in the next week or so, in the next week or 2 weeks, we should finalize with the data collection, the analysis, and do the final payments.
Okay. Do you also work with large-scale farmers, especially for livestock?
Yes, we do work with large scale farmers as well. So with large scale farmers, it's a totally different risk versus small scale farmers. Where with large scale farmers, it's more individualized, it's more personalized covers. We want to understand that farmers practice, want to understand exactly where the risks are exposed, and we tailor make that solution based on that particular the particular farmer. So we do provide solutions for crop and for livestock for large scale farmers as well.
Okay. Does AP also offer the weather index insurance policy?
Yes. So when we started the crop insurance scheme, initially actually it started with a weather index product, which we rolled out, and over the years and over the learnings, we found that the product was a bit too technical for the farmer to understand, and so we had to look for ways to simplify it and the ways to make it more easy for the farmers to understand. So we actually transitioned from a weather index solution to an area yield index product, and the area yield works on the basis that we'll guarantee a certain percentage of your yield. On average, is around about 70% that would guarantee. So in that area, so if there's farmers in a particular area that the yield is less than what the guarantee is, then the insurance product will pay out the difference between what the actual yield was to what the guarantee.
In terms of the profile that of farmers that take insurance, when you look at that profile, what kind of farmers do you think are more easily or more likely to take insurance?
Yeah, I think the small scale farmer profile is somebody that has probably about 1 acre, 1.5 acres of land. In terms of crop, mainly they're growing maize as the main crop. They've got a partner and probably about 3 to 4 children. So that's sort of like the typical persona that we engage with. But what we also find and what we're looking at providing more is away from crop insurance. Farmers need more risk management or more risk protection, right? For example, if a farmer falls ill and is hospitalized, or there's a bereavement in the family or of some sort, that is a financial burden. Okay. So we're trying to provide holistic solutions where, yes, we'll provide cover for the crop, but there are other solutions other financial solutions that farmers need, in terms of income replacement if they're hospitalized, to cater for medical bills, in case they're injured, in terms of personal accident, all that has got a bearing and an impact on the farmer's ability to generate income.
All right. One of the biggest issues we've been having recently, especially in Kenya, is the continued subdivision of land into very small pieces. Does that have an impact or a correlation when it comes to if I want to take an insurance policy and my farm is very small?
Yeah, so from an insurance aspect, it doesn't really impact the insurance coverage. But it is a challenge, on the ground in terms of the farmers. But from an insurance perspective, provided that we know the size of your farm or that you want to cover for, it doesn't really impact the insurance policy. Yeah.
Okay. I know we talked about creating awareness and trainings that your organization do, especially with your partners. But do you also work with the cooperative society? Cooperatives are very strong here in Kenya. Are there a number of cooperative societies that you partnered with that through them you are able now to reach a wide number of their members?
Yes, 100%. Speaking of that, there's a partner that we're working with at the moment that is purely mainly targeting livestock. It's called Largescale, and what they do is they provide a holistic financial solution for livestock farmers, and they work a lot with the cooperatives, right? So through these channels, we're able to access the cooperatives, although we may not access them directly, but we access them through our partnerships. And this is one partnership that we actually just started recently, and really invest in it, for it to grow and to get to the scale that it requires. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, cooperatives definitely play a key role. They also bring that aggregation component. So they're very key in terms of us reaching the end farmer. Yeah.
Okay. Kenya is also rolling a new curriculum, especially in our schools. And the other day, the government is also reintroducing what you used to call the 4K clubs, where young kids can join these agricultural clubs in school and learn a little bit about agriculture. Do you think with the rollout of the new curriculum, if it is a best way to reintroduce or to introduce insurance to kids while they're still young?
100%. And I mean, to take it even a step further, I think financial awareness of financial inclusion should start at a very early stage, right? I mean, I remember when I was in school, I wish there was a subject or a curriculum that I could do that actually addressed things like insurance and financial well-being. So the fact that it's been introduced at an early stage, it's a very, very important aspect. So that this is not something that once you leave school, when you go into the world and you actually, what is this insurance thing that we're talking about, right? But at least it's been introduced and been phased in at a very young age. I've spoken earlier on around how lack of awareness and education is one of the key barriers to uptake, and one way to really mitigate around that is to really introduce it at a very young age.
Okay. So what are some of the challenges that generally they're out there that you face on a daily basis when it comes to insurance penetration, especially in the agricultural space?
Yeah, I think with the many challenges, obviously COVID being the recent one, over the past 18 months or so, COVID has really had an impact for farmers, and the impact has really been driven around with lockdowns that were introduced, not just in Kenya but globally, limitations to access to markets, so farmers battled at times to sell their produce, so that's one of the challenges. Affordability is another challenge. That's why you find in a PPP that we have with the ministry, where the ministry actually subsidizes a portion of the premium, right? On the crop insurance is around 50% that the government pays on behalf of the farmer. So we find that affordability aspect is a challenge from a farmer perspective. And I think just outside insurance, I think for farmers it's really access to markets, right? In terms of lack of infrastructure in certain rural areas, farmers can't really access their produce or get their produce to market and get a fair return on their value. So I think as an insurance industry we need to start thinking beyond just providing an insurance product or insurance coverage. Is really starting to look at ways of how can we open up these channels for farmers, because we want to see the farmers succeed. And one of the areas is really around providing access to or linkages to marketplaces for some of the farmers. Yeah.
Okay. Earlier on, you talked about mistrust being one of the barriers to penetration of insurance. Do you think going forward that barrier can be overcome?
Yes, it definitely can be overcome, and it requires a lot of effort and investment from the industry at large, right? I think insurance, the very nature of insurance being it's not a tangible product, right? So you don't buy an insurance product and so like show it off to your friends, like, look at my insurance product, it's better than yours, right? I mean, if you buy a nice car, everybody can see that you bought a nice car, for example. But with insurance being intangible, it's very difficult, right? And the industry at large, in my view, needs to do a lot in terms of in terms of turnaround times when it comes to, especially when it comes to claims, because at claim stage that's the touch point that the customer actually gets to experience, the product, the value of the product that they bought. So faster claims payouts are very critical. Improved or simplified policies, something that can be easily understood is very critical. Historically, the industry has been painted with make sure that you've read your insurance contract, because there's that fine print, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we really need to transform and transition, from complex products to easily understandable, easily manageable products that consumers can understand.
Okay. As an organization, have you faced fraud before, or someone has tried to fraudulently claim for something maybe that had not happened?
Yes, I mean, fraud is definitely a huge risk, at an industry level, right? The fraud that happens at times is really blowing, right? In terms of the extent that somebody would go to, to try and defraud an insurance company. Obviously, as an organization, we do have checks and balances that we have put in place to try and mitigate the fraud, or to try and reduce it to a minimum. I don't think you can eliminate it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
As far as human beings are very creative, I think they'll always find ways to try and defraud the industry. But the sad part about that is, defrauding the industry is actually not helping the industry, because then it just means that insurance products become more expensive. The people that are not committing the fraud are also affected, mm-hmm. Right? Because it's very difficult to isolate. So fraud is something that we take very seriously as an organization. We've got zero tolerance when it comes to fraud. Where we suspect a fraudulent matter, we do investigate it, and we make sure that we take it to the full extent of what we can.
Do you think the industry is also doing enough to minimize fraud that is out there?
I think the industry is trying its best. Mm-hmm. With the resources that are available. Obviously, fighting fraud also comes at a cost. Right, so in my view, it's really around what is that tolerance at an industry level. But I think you can never do enough when it comes to detecting and fighting fraud. In my view, there's more collaboration that is required at an industry level. In terms of sharing data. What sort of data can we share at an industry level, to help fight against fraud. So, I think we need to see a bit more initiatives around collaboration when it comes to fraudulent matters. Yeah.
Okay. And do you think the law or the punishment out there for those who are found culpable of perpetrating some of these things is punitive enough to deter someone else doing the same?
No, I mean, personally, I don't think the punishment for fraud is stiff enough, because if it was, many people would be deterred, right?
Yeah.
Like, listen, if I do this, these are the consequences. I think in some cases people do get off easily. Okay. And unfortunately, what that does, it promotes or it encourages other people. Like, if so and so can do it and get away with it, let me try my luck. I think we definitely need a bit more stringent and a bit more punitive consequences for fraud. Well, I think fraud should be something that should be not tolerated at all.
Okay, let me take you back to the penetration. From data that we have, a majority of Kenyan farmers are 60 years and above. Do you think age also plays a role when it comes to uptake of insurance policies among the farmers? Because if most of them have not gone to school, do you think it is easy or difficult to convince them to take insurance?
No, it's definitely not easy. It's a challenge. It's a barrier that we see. Because majority of the farmers have never experienced insurance, as an example, right? And in the latter years of farming practices and the increase in climate change, they're seeing more frequent incidents happen, that is impacting them. Previously where they would enjoy a good harvest and without insurance. Now all of a sudden, you need to tell them, listen, you need to take out this insurance product because it covers you for this and that. Also coupled with, like to your point, also coupled with the low levels of financial literacy, it definitely does impact on the uptake. That's why I think it's very important to make sure that we start bringing in insurance at a younger stage. I think you had mentioned earlier on, bringing it through the school curriculum and really promoting agriculture as a proper career, right? I think agriculture is not really given the sexiness, if you can put it that way, that it really is, right? I don't know if you've seen but many photos in many countries, when they showcase agriculture, it's always something gloomy and something doom, and there's no way you're going to attract a young farmer to
yes.
that. I think we need to educate it. We need to change the PR around agriculture and really make it sexy, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, because I remember growing up, we used to see farming mostly as a punishment. Even in school, when you used to make a mistake, you will be sent to the farm to do a little of digging. So that kind of upbringing pushed so many of us not to embrace farming, and I think we need to reverse that. Having said that, what could be your advice, especially to the young farmers now who've totally changed and decided to embrace agriculture as a means as an economic means for themselves, when it comes to insurance uptake?
I mean, I think agriculture in its very nature is something that is it's a really important economic driver, right? The world needs food, right? Like you need food, I need food to survive. So it's not something that's going to go away. It would be good to see more and more youth venturing into agriculture, and it's something that takes a long-term view and long-term investment, right? It's not an overnight success. You really have to work hard at it, like any other career. But it's definitely a career that is very rewarding. Going forward, we're seeing advances in technology, improved farming practices. Things like a greenhouse. You can actually do farming in a greenhouse and not be dependent on rainfall or things like that. So it's definitely a career that anybody that wants to get into, especially at a young age, I'd encourage it to do that. And obviously insurance is just a component of the risk management solution that one would need to take out, right? So it's really around looking at it from a 360 approach to say, how can I mitigate some of the risks that I can manage, and insurance definitely plays a very key role in that risk mitigation process.
Okay, let's now take a comparison of insurance uptake in Kenya and the rest of Africa. Let's start with your country, Zambia. How do you think? How can you compare the two? What can we learn from Zambia, and what can Zambia learn from us?
Yeah, I think if we had to do a comparison, the challenges are very similar. Zambia is also a country that is driven by agriculture in terms of economic activity. I think agriculture is probably the second driving sector, and the government has really invested a lot over the few years trying to get agriculture. Try to de-risk from the dependency on minerals to agriculture, and you find that probably a high percentage of farming activities is small scale farmers, right? So the similarities are there. The government in Zambia do also have an insurance program that they run, between the private sector and public sector, where a part of the premium is subsidized through inputs. So if I look at activities there, and I look at activities in Kenya, there's a lot that Zambia can learn from the Kenyan market in terms of some of the key insurance programs and how successful they've been run and managed from a Kenya perspective. Okay. But in terms of comparisons, the challenges are pretty much similar. Okay.
Are there countries in Africa that are doing relatively good or even much better than the rest of us?
I think we're starting to see more countries that are focusing in agriculture. I think the rest of Africa, or the whole of Africa, in many of the emerging countries, markets in Africa, agriculture is a key. It is one of the key, if not the top two, or definitely within the top three economic drivers. We've seen quite a lot of activities in West Africa in terms of agriculture. We've seen quite a bit coming in from Ghana, as an example. In the southern part of the continent, South Africa is quite big in agriculture. We're seeing countries like Malawi are also involved in agriculture. So there's definitely evidence, at a continent level, of the importance and the role that agriculture plays and continues to play in terms of driving economic activity.
Okay, I'm told we've run out of time, but maybe I'll give you a minute to give us maybe a parting shot. And what do you think is the future of agricultural insurance going forward?
Thanks, sir. I think the future of agriculture insurance going forward is really with the youth. I think that's where the new generation of agriculture is going to come from. So we definitely need to start investing more in the youth and providing solutions that speak to them, right? Like I think to my earlier point, I honestly think that we need to make agriculture a bit more sexy than the doom and gloom that it's portrayed as.
Yeah, thank you very much, Malama, for that. Hopefully they have listened to you and they will try and make agriculture sexy and to encourage more young people to take it up. For our viewers back at home, that is all we had for you today. Until next time, goodbye.